Perhaps the most important piece of information that any human being can possess is a clear view of who they are and how they fit into the world around them. We characterize this idea in several different ways: self-worth, self-value, self-importance, self-reliance, and etc. However, no matter the moniker that we place on the idea, the critical nature of seeing oneself as we truly are remains the same and undiminished. My name is Ronika Jacobs, and you have found my podcast, Strive for More, Live Your Best Life Now. While there are hundreds of thousands of podcasts out there, you have taken the time out to listen to this one. And so for that, I would like to say thank you. So without any further delay, let's get to it. Let's strive for more. This is episode 129, Know Your Worth. Do you know your worth? Do you see your value? Do you understand your importance in the grand scheme of things? This podcast episode begins a series on knowing your true worth and protecting it. Specifically, it is a series about knowledge of worth. A great many people tend to devalue or undervalue themselves when it comes to their personal worth. I'm here to help you change that perception and attitude. My hope is that every person who takes the time to listen to these words will realize that they are important, valuable, and unique. However, before that can be accomplished, a certain amount of education needs to be done. It goes without saying that in order to know your self-worth, you first have to know that you have worth. That's why the first few episodes of this series will address the fact of your worth. You'll accomplish this by examining what self-worth really is. You will have an opportunity to break it down into separate parts. I'll also explain how the human need for self-esteem developed and how it functions as a positive force in human society. Knowing that you have worth is also contingent upon believing in that worth. After you have the opportunity to learn and understand your true value, I'll explain steps that will help you understand how the belief in your own worth develops. You'll have the opportunity to specifically look at the reasons why it's important to know your own value. And lastly, I will challenge you to determine strategies that can help you effectively deal with criticism and negativity. Constructing emotional protections is important and will preserve your sense of self-worth whenever it's under attack. Knowing what self-worth is in theory and why you need to believe in your own self-worth are all well and good. However, they are somewhat meaningless and abstract without knowing how to believe in yourself. That's why, in the final episode, I'm going to give you the concrete steps that you can take to increase your own self-worth. These tips are actionable and doable. You can take the daily steps that you need to build your self-worth and accomplish the things in life that matter to you. I want to close out this episode with the parable of a ring's true worth. Once a man came to a wise man. and complained that he felt worthless and that he didn't want to live anymore. He said that everyone around him said that he was a failure and a fool, and he begged the wise man to help him. After a quick glance, the wise man hurriedly turned down his plea, explaining that he had an urgent matter to take care of. However, he stopped for a moment and suggested that he would gladly help the man, but only if and after the man helped him to get the urgent matter done. Bitterly noting to himself that his concerns had been again dismissed as unimportant, the man murmured in agreement to help the wise man out. Satisfied with the man's response, the wise man took off from his finger a small ring with a beautiful gem. The wise man explained to the man that he had to sell his ring as soon as possible to pay off a debt, and instructed him to take a horse and go to the market to sell it. He asked the man to try to get as much as he could. "Take a horse and go to the market. I have to sell this as soon as possible to pay off a debt," said the wise man. He instructed the man to take as much as he could for it, and no matter what, not to agree to anything less than a gold coin. The man took the ring and rode away. Once at the market, he started offering the ring to every merchant he came across. They were interested in the ring, but as soon as they heard that he offered it for at least a gold coin, they lost all interest in it. Some simply turned away, and others even laughed in his face. It was only one older merchant who kindly explained to the man that the price is too high for such a ring. He told the man that the ring was simply not worth so much, and that the most he could get for it was a silver coin or maybe some bronze. Having heard this, the young man remembered the wise man's instruction not to give it for anything less than a gold coin. And even after offering it to over 100 people, nothing changed. In the end, he rode back to the wise man and told him that he hadn't been able to sell the ring, and as no one was willing to pay so much for it, although he was aware that the ring was not worth a silver coin. "Now that's a very important point, my son," said the wise man. "Before trying to sell a ring, you should find out what it's worth. And who can know that better than a jeweler?" The wise man instructed the young man to go to the jeweler this time and ask him what he would offer for the ring. He added that no matter what the jeweler said, he was not to sell the ring, but come back to him right away. The young man swiftly rode to the jeweler and asked about the ring's worth. After carefully examining the ring and weighing it on his scale, the jeweler turned to the young man. "Tell your master that right now I can't give him more than 58 gold coins. But if he gives me some time, I'll buy it for 70 to compensate for the weight." The young man was shocked. 70 gold coins? He laughed, thanked the jeweler, and headed back to the wise man. The wise man listened to the young man describing what had happened and looked him in the eyes. "Remember this. You are like this ring, precious and unique, and only a real expert can appreciate your true worth. So why are you wasting your time going to random people to find out what it is?" I'm saying this to say, it is true. We often let those who cannot be aware of our worth to attribute too little worth to something they don't actually know. Many times, underestimating comes as a result of ignorance. So don't let someone's ignorance be your setback. Know your worth. Thank you so much for listening. Please like my Facebook page, Strive in the number 4, more, or you may send me an email at striveformore@email.com. Please continue to strive for more and live your best life now. See you in the next episode.